It's Steve. It's Steve. I get it already. I get it.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is today's meeting, July 9th of the Civil Service Merit Board. Let's first call the roll. Jane Roberts.
Present.
Theodora.
Here.
And Stephanie Taylor.
Present.
Scott Schimmel. Here. And I'm Bill Lyons, and I'm present, so we're all present and accounted for. And the first item is the approval of the minutes of the meeting that was held on June 11th. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any corrections or items on the minutes that you'd like to address? Okay. All those in favor of approval of the minutes indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. So, Mr. Bradshaw, I believe it comes on you to give the report today.
Thank you. Yes, and I have distributed some handouts, as you guys are all used to by now, I think. So yeah, I'll just start with the some of these stats and things as we always do, and then I'll start with the long one here, which is the posting stats, the log of all the things we posted. And just as a reminder, the column we're most interested in is the days from receipt to referral, which is the third from the right. So yeah, just a snapshot of how we're doing right now. I don't have anything specific I wanted to highlight, but as you guys know, I just enjoy sharing. I enjoy it so much sharing some of the data that we're providing here, and hopefully that's instructive and helpful for you guys to know what we're working on and how long it's taking. And I think our numbers they're not as good as I'd like for them to be in some areas, but we are doing pretty well, I think, overall as an average, keeping that column down. It's under control. But are there any questions about postings or things we've posted lately specifically on that? If not, I'll highlight the next of our wonderful handouts, which is the test breakdown. And you'll see some of the things we've done more recently. I know we talked quite a lot about firefighter recruiting in the last couple of meetings, and we've moved past that now and are getting more into some of our more routine postings. I'm not loving our report rates. As you guys know, that's been a tough nut to crack, trying to some of those report rates better. I know I do feel like we still get a little bit better response when we use our eSkill platform. That, as a reminder, is our online testing option, giving applicants an option to test in person or online. We're also using an alternative. These are just written tests, by the way. And if it's a training experience questionnaire, we're obviously do that immediately. But our report rates are still not where I'd love them for them to be, and that's a topic we need to keep talking about. And I think at the end of the day, our job is to get more applicants and better applicants for our departments to make the best possible hiring decision. We're trying to do that, so it's just something we need to keep thinking about. These are the last few we've done, as you can see. I will highlight some successes, though. I think financial analyst, you'll see on there, 115 applicants. We narrowed that down. By the time we tested them, we had 49. But that's a professional level job. That's pretty hard to recruit. When I came up, we were struggling recruiting for that job. It's a really important job. Really happy with that one. We put a lot of effort into increasing that. If you increase that first column there, the raw applicants, usually you'll end up with a better product, more quality. More quantity can lead to quality sometimes. We hope that's what we're trying to do. So I want to highlight that. That was a good success. So, any other questions about our testing stats there? Great. We'll talk a little bit about got two budget handouts, as you guys may notice. It's not a repeat; they're different. So the date on the upper left there will show you. One of them should say July 9th, and one of them should say June 30th. Obviously, those of you familiar with our city operations, the fiscal year is just begun. So I wanted to give a little snapshot of where we not quite finished last fiscal year. There's still some stuff trickling in, and we'll pay some bills and things that applied towards the last fiscal year. But basically, this is where we probably are going to end up as far as closing out fiscal 25, minus a few things still need to percolate through the system. And then the next one, the one that says July 9th, is sort of where we're at, where we're projecting to be for the next fiscal year. So I don't want to spend too much time belaboring this, but I do want to highlight a few things in the new one, the FY26 one. That's the one that says July 9th on the top. You guys know the drill by now, but so the first page and a half or so is all personnel stuff. We have very little control over most of that. But then at the bottom of page 2 and then part of page 3, there's a line item on office supplies, a very small line item. And then on page 3, which extends into page 4 and page 5, that's our office services. That's the big, where we actually have discretion to spend some of our money in accounts there. You'll notice our publicity item, which is on page 3, is at $30,000, which used to be $3,000. This is what we're using to part of the modernization initiatives to do more online advertising. So we submitted a request on the budget to up that line item, and it was approved. And we have money for FY26 to do more advertising, which is something we've been really pushing forward this last year. So I'm excited about that. I want to highlight that. And then otherwise, it's not a huge budget, as you guys know, but a little bit of money there in miscellaneous professional services at the bottom of page 4. That'll be for our testing, our testing provider eSkill that we're going to keep working with. So that's the main things I wanted to highlight there. And then if you guys had any questions about that, or I know the FY25 stuff we review every month. It's not changed too much from last month, but if you had anything that was of particular interest, I'm happy to answer any questions about that. Otherwise, I'll go to the modernization initiatives. I touched on it a bit. So as I said before, the eSkill contract is up in August. We're going to renew that with an increase in our licenses for online testing. We had 150 on the last contract, which means we could administer 150 online exams. We're going to increase that to 500, which will allow us to test more people online, which is great. That's circulating for signature right now, and it should be effective September 1st. That's going well. The digitization project is also well in hand. We've already got most of our material back and digitized. Our plan is to work with IS and create a SharePoint site that you guys will have access to if you need to look at and other folks within the city, our friends in HR, law, whoever else, need to access civil service network meetings or other old material that used to live exclusively in a dusty old binder in my office. Now it's going to be available digitally and for everyone. So that project is almost done. We've got most of it back. We're just going to create the database and make it accessible. I'm really excited about getting that one closed out. We've got a lot of great stuff going on in the office. We're sort of modernizing our facilities up there. If you guys haven't been lately, come check it out. We've got a nice new wall-mounted screen and some Wi-Fi in the office, which is a brand new concept. So we're really excited about getting that up there, and got a new laptop and some other things too we were able to purchase with our existing operating funds. Very excited about. So a lot of things going on great as far as our modernization initiatives are concerned. The Oracle recruiting project still underway. I don't know if we're going to make our December or our October goal. It's really IS's project. We're one of many partners there, but I'll highlight the work that Melissa and Laura, especially, are sitting over here, have done. They've been to about every meeting. I think every meeting that the civil service has been discussed, we've been at. Some that we weren't. Keeping that project going. So we're really excited about being a part of that citywide project to get the new HR software up and running, and the part that we'll play in that as far as applicants and other things. So that project is still going forward. We're still actively having meetings and feedback with IS and HR and benefits and others. So it's going well so far. In terms of current grievances and disciplinary appeals, we have one appeal that we just received recently and has not we've scheduled a hearing officer, but it's not had a hearing or anything of that nature yet. We have 2 grievances that have been sort of long-standing that I've reported on earlier. I've also, it's a total of 3 that are at step 3. And then there's a 4th one that just came in after step 2. It's perhaps going to proceed to step 3 and need a hearing, but we've not got there yet. I just got to step 2 in it, so maybe a 4th one on the horizon. But that's sort of where we stand on grievances and appeals. 1 appeal, 2 grievances, possibly a 3rd grievance. with that, I think we're going to touch on one of the agenda items about the consideration of the recommendation for my successor. And I'd love to talk at some point about transition plans for myself. I'll mention that here how things go. I'd love to add that to the discussion if that were possible. With that, I think I have nothing further to report unless there are any questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, any questions? Okay, the next item is the HR report.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, you can make it.
I am, yes. Yes, I am filling in for Dr. Drummond and George today. My name is Mary Margaret Murray, for those that I've not gotten the chance to speak too much with, and I appreciate you all letting me fill in today. I wanted to update you guys on a few really awesome things that we have going on. July is our really busy window with July changes. What that means for us is all of the pay changes that employees received effective 7/1. We're doing all the updated documentation, getting notifications out to them, updating position descriptions, job analyses, all the fun things that go with making sure that our folks are paid what they should be on those new changes. We are also having an employee opportunities fair that's going to be July 17th, so next Thursday at the Public Works Complex. That's for City of Knoxville employees to come and learn about two main things that we have going on. So our tuition reimbursement program, we increased that annual allotment per fiscal year per eligible employee this year to $5,250. So we're going to have local colleges there for students, or for employees to learn about going back to school. We'll also have Tennessee Reconnect, so that's going to be an adult education program to help folks continue their education. HR teammates are going to be on site, helping them fill out the pre-approval forms for the tuition reimbursement process. We're also going to have local nonprofits there. So talking about our day of service, I know we've talked at the last couple of meetings about that, but different local nonprofits will be at the employee opportunities fair so that employees can kind of get hands-on experience with different volunteer opportunities in town and kind of start thinking about where do I want to go and where do I want to spend my time. In terms of our summer internship, it's the Summer in the City is our main program. That wraps up July 24th, so a couple weeks from now. We've had about 20 interns throughout different city departments. HR in particular has had 2 summer interns, and one of the really cool projects that they've been working on has been intern curriculum. So for our different departments, maybe are interested in taking an intern, they haven't done it before, or they're looking to just kind of streamline the process of how to make an effective experience for their interns. They'll be able to look at this guide of, hey, here's what colleges are looking for these students to gain experience in. Here's how you can onboard, here's who you can contact, and kind of week by week of an internship, what the expectations should be for those students. In terms of HR staffing updates, wanted to share with you all that George Shields has accepted a position as general counsel at KUB, which we are so excited for him. He's been such an incredible impact on the city, both in our law department and in our human resources department. I know we'll all miss him, very, very grateful, and we're very grateful for all the work that he's done. He'll be with the city through the end of the month, picking up at KUB at the start of August. Next up for our fall recruiting schedule, with HR's transition that we started at the beginning of the year, we've passed all talent acquisition initiatives to Leah Pendarvis. She's been really creative in figuring out ways to continue to network with the student population. She came to the city from working at University of Tennessee, so she's got some great insights into how can we tap into the entry-level talent pools that we have right around us. So we are building out all of our fall recruiting job fair schedules. We are looking to plan out departments where the Baker interns will be going to. We're also doing a major push on Handshake, so utilizing the resources that students are actually looking at jobs on. For example, we posted our financial analyst 1 position on there as well, and that received 32 applications just from that one site alone, which is great. Last up is our benchmarking. We do this process every year, so pretty standard, basically looking to compare City of Knoxville positions, pay structures to peer municipalities, making sure that we're paying correctly, we are matching the market. We are starting that process just a little bit earlier this year. So we are starting in August. Info will be going to departments here soon, and then we'll be wrapping that up a little bit earlier this year in December than we historically have been. And lastly, I wanted to invite you all to a party for Christy Tunstall. I know Dr. Drummond shared at our last meeting that she received her CCP, her Certified Compensation Professional, through Full Bit Work, which is a huge deal. That is something that normally takes folks a couple of years to go through, and she completed the process in less than a year, which is really great. It's a 10-exam process. And so we are celebrating her on Thursday this week from 1:30 to 4 p.m. in City County Building 575. We'd love to have you all join if you can. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, it's all okay.
Well, I'll just say we too. It's sort of an overlap here because the Baker interns I'm involved with there, Baker School, and the experience has been phenomenal for them. You've been great there working with them. In fact, probably going to get a request if you can handle a couple more. There's such demand, for the jobs. They get involved in real substantive work. And the only thing I demand of them is they make a contribution. We don't want them to be babysat by you, but add value to the department that they're in, and hopefully that's been the case.
They do. I know we recently had in our public service department, Julia Dieter came through, and public service had this Baker intern look at brush efficiency routes, and she was able to figure out, hey, what are some ideas of how we can improve brush efficiency, save city resources, and they actually were able to pitch those findings to city council this year to help with their processes.
She's fantastic. Anyway, thank you very much for that.
Dr. Lyons, I think I gave Mary the wrong start time. It's 2 p.m. for the celebration for Christmas. Is that right?
Oh.
But you all can show up early and help set up.
We will be there at 1:30. Sorry about that. Yes.
2 o'clock.
3:30, yeah.
All right. Sorry about the
Sorry
time.
about that. Yes. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Great.
What kind of food do they serve?
I've heard light refreshments.
Okay. All right. Thank you again. I don't think there's any more unfinished business. New business, we've got our item 4, request for approval of 3-month exemption of the following positions from civil service protection. Crime scene technicians, 2 positions, and audiovisual technician, 1 position. This exemption period shall expire on 9/30/2025, which is not too far from now. So we're just talking about an extension. Nick, would you like to give us some background on that?
I'd love to, yeah. These were grant-funded positions that the board exempted in 2023, so maybe you may recall, and the extensions ran through the end of June of this year, a couple weeks ago. They were given, the police department was given funding in the budget, as I understand it, and I believe they have representatives here to speak to this as well, but so they're going to fill them permanently, which means they're going to have to be civil service according to our rules, so we wanted to give them a little bit more of a grace period. We don't want to terminate these people, obviously. They're currently employed. So this is basically to extend the grace period to allow them to fill it in the civil service process, and then they'll be permanent employees. If they had anything to say towards that.
Okay. Do you have any questions or need for any more information? I think it's fairly straightforward.
And I mean, to giving them just 3 months, less than 3 months, is that enough time?
Should be. I think they're already posted. So yeah, they requisition them immediately. I mean, the goal is we're trying to do this process correctly, and the rules specifically say how we're supposed to fill a civil service job. I'm also supposed to require to report to the board if there's a job occupied by a non-civil service person, and should be the civil service. I'm trying to avoid a situation like that. There's a rule where the board can order pay to cease an employee if it turns out they're filling a job that wasn't filled correctly, but that's not something we want to do. They're trying to do it the right way, trying to help them. So this is just sort of a matter of extending the exemption just enough to be able to fill it.
Everything right.
Yeah, without impacting the employees in a negative way. But I agree, always try to rehire these people who are in the workforce. But we need to do it the right way, according to our rules. So that's what it's about. It's a little unusual, but yeah, just a shorter exemption in order for us to make this process happen, and we're actively working to make that happen, and I think we'll have 3 months ought to be plenty of time.
Other questions? Okay, do we have a motion to that effect?
Motion.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay. And now the item, and we'll turn it over to Ms. Roberts to bring us up to date on where you are on the very important item before us. And again, we all appreciate your work and the employee reps' work, and Grace did a lot of work on this too, so, and others I'm sure as well. So thank you, and we'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. I feel I should actually stand for this one, right? Make it fully ceremonious.
You want the
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been so excited for this moment. Maybe as excited as Missy, I'm not sure yet. But before we get started, I definitely want to make sure that we take time to thank all the people here at the city that have made this possible. So as we mentioned, we do have our Chief of Staff, David Brace, over here. We have Miss Stephanie Guptill and Jason Booker, Larry McAfee. So I'm sure you all are aware of who they are. But we have been working on this committee now since July of 2024. So time flies when you're having fun. Frankly, it's a little bittersweet. We enjoyed meeting. Very good. Yes, exactly. So, but there's a lot of moving parts with multiple departments to get us to this point. So, I really want to thank the Civil Service Department, and good to see some here today, for their patience, because I know that's a long time to wait for management change, and they've been excellent sticking with us and trusting us through this process. And I want to thank Nick Bradshaw for helping guide us there as well. So definitely want to take a moment to appreciate civil service and all their help with this process as well. So in getting us these applicants. So thank you. We also have our Beth Thompson in the mayor's office keeping us going and straight and everything. So lots of hands in that, and can't forget HR too as well, getting us all set up and with interviews and everything like that. And I will also thank the law department too for helping us. It's had a big impact in this. So again, this has been an excellent team effort and exciting time. I know I can say that the passion behind this team right here and their dedication to our city employees is unmatched, and I'm very grateful to work with them and upholding these our merit protections that are available to our employees. So I can't stress that enough. I appreciate their advocacy and really putting in the hard work to make sure we got here today with an excellent candidate recommendation. So I'm feeling really joyful about it. I think we got a bunch of that. Thank you so much. So, all right, back to the main event. So, I know this is published in the agenda. I will read to you parts of it. I don't think anybody wants to listen to me talk too much longer with that. So, the Civil Service Merit Board's Civil Service Executive Search Committee, that's the 5 of us, would like to recommend Melissa Missy Foster as our sole candidate for the Civil Service Executive Secretary position. So, in case you don't know about Missy, I can tell you she's been at the city for 18 years now, just a recent anniversary, correct? And again, I know has worked especially like with fire and KP in the past, and her dedication to civil service department's unparalleled. So we were grateful to have you put your name in for this role. And so just to go through some of the numbers, again, we did as a committee screen 81 applicants, and civil service helped us with that, making sure we redacted, any information that might steer us certain ways. So we wanted to be as fair as we could be within that, and ultimately came down to us having 6 final candidates for interviews, and then after that 3 final interviews. And I know the agenda may look a little funny from the last time we met, but when we met as a committee, we just unanimously knew that Melissa was going to be the right candidate for this role, enough to put all of our names behind her for the position. So, how should I phrase this in a voting request?
Well, I tell you what, maybe let's follow Roberts on this. Does anybody want to make I think what we ought to do is have a motion, a second, and then maybe we can discuss and have Melissa answer any questions, and then we'd have to vote at that point. I think that would,
Sure.
that work for everybody? Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the hiring of Melissa Foster for the Executive Secretary position? Okay, a motion and a second. So we'll pause here for the discussion before we have the vote. And right here in the discussion, a lot of it will be just a chance for Melissa, if you could maybe stand and we could come up to the front there and we could just ask, about just briefly explain your background. I know Jane did a little, and then, the board can ask any questions about your approach to the position that they may have, and we will take the appropriate action. So if you wanted to start off, just give us a little more about your background and why, I would start with why you would like to take this position.
Okay. I've been with the city for 18 years. I was hired as a HR analyst. I've been the fire department's analyst for 18 years, police for about 7. I've had several other departments along the way. Excuse me. I was interested in this job because for the last 7 years, I've been the backup to the executive secretary, and I've really enjoyed that work, and I've been training on that and doing most aspects of the job at different times. So I'm just really excited to be here today, and I want to thank everyone for speaking to me today. Kind of what I do now in the department is any kind of promotional test creation, testing, the referral process, post jobs, screen applicants, and then over the last 7 years, I have helped the executive secretary in her duties, and then also the current interim, I've also helped him when he's out. What else was
Pretty good. It's a nice succinct summary. Being able to be succinct and to the point is very helpful. Criteria, so we like that. Do we have any other board have anything specific they would like to ask? Or I think you got a pretty good.
I do want to add that I just want to, if I am appointed, I want to keep doing the work that Nick has started. The more advertising, the more online testing, all the things like that we've started to continue to improve civil service and be more efficient.
So we've been, Nick's been fantastic, and we'll talk about your future here in a second. This part of it anyway, I know you got a good future regardless. But I think we've made some fairly big changes. The entire world of dealing with anything related to HR and civil service and employee rights and everything is evolving a lot. And nature of testing has evolved a lot. And we just appreciate everything, the leadership everybody has shown here recent years, especially recently, and you're involved. We appreciate your commitment to keeping up how do we solve a problem rather than finding impediments to being able to solve the problem. And sometimes bureaucracies have trouble with that. So we want to be looking to find solutions as much as possible. It's still in the spirit and legal and otherwise the spirit of what we're empowered to do as a board. And again, I think it's important that all the employee groups are part of this. And it's very critical. I know concern to employees as it should be, civil service protections. I feel good that y'all were involved and supportive of this decision. So thank you for your support. Any other thing that anybody would like before we do the vote itself?
I'd love to say something if that were appropriate. I've known and worked closely with Missy for 15 years now. When I was hired in civil service in 2010 as a brand new HR analyst, Missy was there and helped to teach me. And then over the last 10 months that I've been in this job, obviously left civil service to go work in public service and fleet over the years. I came back last year. Missy's been absolutely invaluable. My right-hand person, the most knowledgeable person in the department, self-included, I'll admit. And I think you guys could not make a better choice. So she's got for what it's worth, she's got my complete support and endorsement.
I think it's worth something. A lot, actually. Okay, do we have any other comments or discussion prior to voting? We have a motion and a second. And all those in favor of the motion to hire Melissa Foster indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Well, congratulations. And I know we have to work out some details regarding, minor details about your hiring to finalize it. We'll be getting on to that too.
I do want to thank the committee and Jane and all of the board for all your hard work on this. As we were talking earlier, this is a unique situation to hire for this position, and I just want to thank the committee and all their time they've put in, and Jane and all of you, and our whole department really appreciates it.
Okay. Thank you, and I know we'll keep up the good relationship with HR as well.
Yes.
So we appreciate HR's participation and support. Okay. Yes, any more speechifying to do? Okay, well then we'll move on. Thank you again. We'll move on to and I guess at the next meeting, all things being equal, you'll be sliding into the big seat there.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So we do have a request. Let's see. Let's finish the other item and then get back to Nick's request. Just if you'd give an update on the outside counsel situation, and then we'll talk about your situation too.
Yeah. Devin's is pretty much finished with his project. Obviously, we've been working on this since we hired him in December, so it's been a little bit. So I think the best approach to, obviously, as you guys know, any kind of rule change requires a public hearing. And we typically have rule change hearings in advance of a board meeting. That will have to be done. I think, given the content here, and Devin had asked if we could do a workshop in advance of that hearing. So what we're talking about is just, I think, if the board were willing to schedule a workshop for next month, maybe in lieu of or following the August board meeting. Whatever it is the board's.
Yeah, they used to be on the days when we didn't have anything and we could skip a month.
Yeah, it's hard.
Maybe we won't have anything.
It's hard to predict.
Yeah, it is hard to predict.
Yeah. So, but in order to have that workshop, the purpose of the workshop would be to hear from Devin and review his product and be familiar with that and ask questions and do that sort of outside of a hearing. A hearing is a little more of just to get familiar with the process in advance of a hearing.
Right, and then the hearing would be, obviously, we hear potential opposition and so forth to the specific items.
Right.
Okay. Is everybody okay? I don't think we need to vote on this as an update, is how it's phrased. Is everybody okay with the workshop approach? Before, after, in lieu of the next meeting? Okay, hearing no opposition, we'll do that for the next meeting. And then your transition, I think obviously, I would say, would seem to make sense. It's going to be a handoff period. Now, of course, we're not talking about somebody brand new. We're talking about somebody with a lot of experience here. It's probably of less length than it would otherwise be. But what would you think would be the best way to handle that?
Well, I agree. It'll take at least a couple of weeks to process things, of course, as we know. And, I would envision working together with Melissa on a handover period. There are a handful of projects I'd love to see the fruition to the conclusion. I have talked to the administration, make sure they were willing to let me work a certain period of transition time. I think somewhere in the 60-day time frame would be good and would allow me to button things up and slowly, I think we transition over the course of that period to where I'm doing less and she's doing more until I'm not needed at all by the end. I think that would be good in my opinion. But again, if you guys, I serve at the board's pleasure. You ask me to leave tomorrow, I certainly will. But that I think about a 60-day would be good in my opinion.
Well, I would think that makes sense. Does anybody have any thoughts? Makes sense to me. And of course, part of it is you got to get back to your other job. You only have two. To get to be, and I turn to Mr. Brace, as Chief of Staff, is it workable for you for Nick to transition back?
We'll continue to work him in 2 jobs for 60 more days.
We're agreement.
Yeah. We're supportive, fully supportive, and excited to have Nick fully back over in Fleet. And I'm sure there's another looming project somewhere in the city that he'll tack on to. But we're excited to see the transition. 60, 90 days, I think, is totally reasonable.
Well, again, we've been so fortunate that Nick was around to do all this and be able to work this out, because it could have been a lot awkward otherwise.
Yeah.
It could have been one of us.
Okay, now I believe that is the end of our usual business. I do understand we have a request to address the board.
Yes.
We'll be glad to hear. As you know, this will be in the form of, well, let's say technically, is the board okay with having a public forum period? We don't technically have that in our minutes. I would recommend that we do, and if you would take the opportunity and you would take no more than 5 minutes.
All right. Hello, Lieutenant Cash. I think most of you guys know me. I come to address a topic that merit. Merit refers to the quality of being particularly good, skilled, or deserving of recognition, reward, and based on one's ability, performance, and achievement. So that's defined. In professional or organizational settings, merit typically means earning something based on qualifications such as experience, education, and skill. It also refers to demonstrating competence or excellence in performance, such as job evaluation, tests, scores, and leadership. Being chosen or promoted because of objective success or capability, not because of personal connections, seniority alone, or preference based on unrelated factors. A merit-based system tries to reward what a person has done rather than who they are or who they know. I have 3 questions and I have 2 suggestions I would like to pose to the board. In what way can a system that appears to reward preference over merit be structured to maintain integrity and prevent corruption?
Well, I think during this period you can address the board, and so we're going to consider these rhetorical questions to keep in mind. We can't even go. That's the way this is.
So,
spirit of public forums in the city.
all right, but how would I get that answer moving forward?
Well, you could. I don't know that exactly we'll have to talk to staff about what and maybe the attorney about what the appropriate response would be, but we'll take that under consideration.
Second question, how is the current pass-fail grading system designed to reflect merit-based performances? What are the intended benefits and limitations of this method? Are there other cities comparable in size to Knoxville that use this similar system, and what has been their experience and outcome with it? Third question, what approach has the Knoxville Police Department taken in the recent years to enhance recruitment efforts, especially concerning minority representation? Is anybody aware? And then the follow-up to that is, what trends or outcomes have emerged from these cities' efforts in terms of percentage and overall staff?
Okay, well, if you could leave those, let's get those into the record, if you could leave those with Mr. Bradshaw.
Okay.
We'll see what response is appropriate for us.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I had 5 minutes, I didn't want to.
Oh, that's okay. I got it.
How do current staffing levels compare to those from 3 years ago? The next follow-up is, what lessons has the department learned from these recruitment initiatives? Suggestions. How about a decision-making process such as those involving changes to promotion processes be improved by the input from officers, those mostly affected by that decision? Second suggestion, follow-up to that was, what impact such as inclusion may have on morale, trust, and the quality of the final decision that is made? The next question is, what would the potential advantages and drawbacks of extending the grievance procedure filing window from 5 days to 30 days? 5 days is kind of a short turnaround. Most of the time when you face a grievance, there's been weeks and weeks of whatever information gathered, then they give it to you. And as a person facing that, you don't have 5 days that seem comfortable to respond to that. I would like to see it extended to 30 days to give the person filing the grievance a chance to have that equal on the other side. How would this change support the effort, the effective conflict resolution to allow for more thoughtful preparation for the complainant? And in what ways will the extension contribute to greater fairness in the grievance procedure? My last suggestion is how could the grievance process be made more acceptable and equitable for complainants who may be unfamiliar with the rules and the procedures? I mean, if this is the first time in your career and you're going through the grievance process, it is overwhelming. If you don't know the rules, who to contact, what resources you have, I would like to see some kind of advocate in place to make sure that these are being fully vetted. What role could an advocate or support resource play in assisting individuals with this process? And finally, how can the department ensure that all members, regardless of experience, have a fair opportunity to present their case?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Who do I present these to?
Questions and suggestions, and you leave that and we can see, I mean, some of those are things that would be potential changes that, you know, might see what the process would be, of course, would involve discussion and pros and cons, and others are those that, for us to be aware of the concerns, especially the amount of time on the grievance that you have to respond to.
And I'm going to speak out. I'm not on the agenda, and he told me not to, but I'm going to anyway. He's not been evaluated in 2 years, but somehow he says he's not up for promotion. But he's not been evaluated based on his merit. So how are they evaluating his merit if he's not receiving evaluation? That's a rhetorical question.
Well, okay.
So how long will it take to get a response from that?
I think we can have a follow-up next month, see what happens.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you. Adding additional information for us. Okay. Do we have anything else before the board today?
Motion.
To adjourn?
A second.
We have a second. Okay, motion, second. All those in favor of adjourning, everybody saying aye?
Aye.
Thank you. We probably don't have to do it, but it's fun for you to make it.
I think that's one job I have.